All right. Welcome back, everyone, for the second arc of the Farthest Thunder, an alien RPG actual play from Looking for Mom. Welcome back to all the cast members. We did lose Ezra / Doug. Life kind of got in the way, so we're down to 5. But that's more than enough cannon fodder for the aliens. Just going to do a quick round of intros again, just to kick off this new season. I'm Andrew. I'll be Game Mother for the second arc as well. And I'm just going to go down screen and across and top. So, Gideon.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm playing Gideon, the Roughneck.
Thank you. Aiko.
Hi, I'm Aiko Kimura, and I'm playing a grizzled wannabe president, but actually vice president, corporate stiff on the crew.
Right. Thank you. And next up, Mad Megs.
Hey, I'm Dave, and I'm playing Mad Mags, a rough around the edges entertainer slash casino mogul of sorts.
Mogul with no casinos. Okay.
Slash barkeep slash all interesting character here. But that's Mad Mags.
Awesome. Thanks. Otmar. Oh, you're muted. No? Oh,
I can hear him just fine.
Hold on. Let me double check. Sorry. Technical difficulties on my end. You. Odd. 1 second, I'll get you sorted. All right, can you try again? Odd, I was hearing you just fine. Oh, there you go. Somehow you got
Check
muted.
1, 2.
You're good now.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name's Glenn. I'm playing Otmar Ettinger, the Roughneck, the senior Roughneck of the two. And looking forward to this campaign.
All right. And last but certainly not least, South.
I'm Aaron. I'll be playing South, the prospector, and one of the very few survivors from Baxter's Reach. One of the, 4 of us now? Or 3 of us?
Actually, there are 5 of you, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you, in fact. There are 6 of you. And actually, that's where we're going to start. We're going to start just a couple of days after you arrived back on Great Mothership, Ilyana. And we find you here, this massive, massive colony ship. But inside this ship, you have no idea of the scale of this thing. This thing is easily over 1 kilometer long. It is huge. It is carrying 10,000 people in cryogenic sleep to repopulate the colonies that have that were isolated for the past 70, 75 years. And the purpose of this Great Mother mission was to reestablish contact with the Far Spinward colonies, to make sure that they're okay, make sure they survive the isolation, to provide assistance where needed, and to colonize new worlds, explore new worlds. That didn't really happen for our good folks last arc, as things quickly went south. Sorry, no pun intended. But here we are in Arc 2, and we find all of you sitting in a room. This room is in the middle of the ship. It is brightly lit. Harsh LED lights kind of glaring down on you as you sit in these hard, uncomfortable, molded plastic chairs. Except for Gideon, who is still in his wheelchair, recovering from the lost kidney just a few days earlier.
It's still a hard plastic chair.
Just with wheels, little wheelies on it. Surrounding you are a cast of very officious looking individuals. These are the primary directors, leaders from the various factions that sponsored the Great Mother Mission, led under the auspices of the United Nations. And as they sit around you in this round kind of council chamber, all facing one another with all of you seated in the center of it, feeling a little uncomfortable as all eyes are upon you. Some look upon you with pity, others with empathy, sympathy for what you have gone through, others just suspicion, and one person in particular, Michael, your boss, is glaring at you with venom. He is not looking at anyone else. He is laser focused on you. Behind him stands Gaius, a synthetic, Platinum Edition, Walter, who looks kind of like Frank before Frank got turned into whatever he was. He just stands meekly and quietly behind Director Kamal Vartui of Wayland Yutani. And as you guys are getting your bearings, just remember this is only a couple days after you have arrived on board. Governor Kodwa Abantu stands up to address you. Welcome, friends, survivors of Baxter's Reach. Welcome to the great mothership Ilyana. I am sorry for any discomfort that you might have experienced upon your arrival upon our ship, but for our own safety and yours, we had to keep you in isolation and quarantine to ensure you did not bring any threats aboard this ship, because we carry a precious cargo on the ship and we could not risk any danger to them. I hope you do understand that. But thank you so much for your patience and understanding. I understand you have all gone through the most terrible ordeal. And my sympathies and all our sympathies go out to all of you for the tremendous hardship and loss that you have suffered in the past few days. I can't imagine what horrors you lived through. We are gathered here today to hear your story. You see arrayed around you leaders from the various factions and organizations, corporations that have a financial and political investiture within this mission. They all are eager to hear your story. And now you have your opportunity to tell it. And as he sits down, Aiko, you recall just moments before entering this room, your boss, Director Kamal Vartui. Now, he's a director, you're a VP. Technically, you outrank him. But for this mission, he outranks you. And he's glaring at you as you walk in. He pulls you to one side and he whispers harshly in your ear, Mr. Kamara, I would remind you of the NDA that you have signed. You are sworn to secrecy. You cannot divulge any proprietary information to this council, or you will be in breach of that and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Whether you are an employee of Wayland Yutani now or after your termination, you are still bound by the NDA.
Does this supersede my immunity clause that I got for contract 4A?
Supersedes everything. And believe me, Mr. Kimura, after this council, we will have our own little tete-a-tete. And you can tell me the real story.
Does he have a lapel that says like director?
He actually doesn't have any kind of badge or anything on him.
Aiko's just gonna kind of straighten his collar and kind of just walk in.
And you hear Gaius kind of just speak over his shoulder as you walk away. I have a suspicion, Director, that Mr. Kimura will fail to comply with your order. And you hear Director Kamal Vartui just say, he'll just dig himself a deeper grave in that sense, if that's the case. So now you sit in the middle of this harshly lit council chamber, all eyes upon you. And as Governor Kolwa Abantu sits, he gestures to you with a waving hand. Please, we're eager to hear your story.
Before we get into all that, did y'all get the registration on whatever ship nuked Baxter's Reach? Who was it? How'd it happen?
Governor Abantu says, your questions will be answered in due time. Mr. Ettinger? But please, why don't you begin with what happened to the ship? Why did it crash? As he kind of looks at you, Aiko.
So Aiko's gonna pull up his notes. He's gonna kind of give a. So he's shared these notes with Kamal. So Kamal probably knows these notes, and he's about to start reading the line about what was that doctor's name? Volkov. And so right before he starts, though, he kind of looks over and he wants to see if Kamal is giving him like, yeah, you can talk about this, or no.
He is just staring at you. Like he would murder you with his look if he could.
There was an unforeseen line of communication. Somebody was paid off, and one thing led to another, and the ship ended up on the ground. But you know how it is. We rallied together, dug ourselves out of the hole, and look, we're back here. We're fine. Any other questions?
Valentina Perezzi, the UA representative, leans forward and says, Mr. Kimura, as a sole surviving member of the delegation to Baxter's Reach.
And the best looking.
As a sole surviving member of the delegation, Baxter's Reach, there are many questions that we would like you to answer with respect to this mission. The Himata no Kami is a $2 billion ship, state of the art. How did it crash?
You're going to have to talk to Ezra. I really don't know how good of a pilot he is.
At that, Corporate Director Pereira Abrams speaks up. Says, I'll have you know that Pilot Ezra is the top of the line synthetic pilot. He's chosen specifically for this mission, and without him, I dare say none of you would be alive at this moment.
Well, what did he tell you?
That's classified.
You know, trust is like putting your chips on the table. You better be sure the odds are in your favor before you commit. Are the odds in our favor?
General Lee Taylor from Kellen Prospecting leans forward and says, "Now, two of my best people were killed on that mission, Mr. Kimura. And now here are reports that one of them was turned into some sort of monster. Now,
Now,
how the hell did that happen?"
I am no biologist, so I can't tell you anything.
And I stand corrected. 3 of my best people were killed on that mission. One of them was executed summarily as soon as he got off your goddamn ship.
I do think the flora and fauna are hostile on that planet.
The flora and fauna wear pistols, shoot people in the head at point blank range, Mr. Kimura.
Look, I can't remember.
I'll
the
help you out,
details.
Ico. That was just some local asshole. I mean, y'all know about assholes, right? You got assholes up here in space. Looks like a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about.
The General Ozolinsky just kind of laugh under his breath when you say that. He seems amused by that comment. Superintendent from the ICC, Jim Busby, speaks up and says, "I don't need to remind people here that the absolute shit show, I cannot put it in any nicer terms, that this mission was. You have practically broken every single regulation on this mission, Mr. Kimura. As leader of this delegation, you will personally be held responsible for damages, loss of life, and whatever else comes out of this."
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You brought us here because you're trying to figure out what happened, right?
We're giving you the opportunity to explain in your own words
Now,
what the hell happened down there.
how did you know that one of Mr. General Lee Taylor's men? How did you know that guy was shot?
Good Councilwoman Elena Brooks put it in her report. She was very forthcoming in how unprofessional you were. All the violations.
Elena Brooks. Ico's gonna look over at Gideon, and so when it was Gideon who actually hacked the communications between Elena and Dr. Volkov, right? Ico's gonna kind of give you the nod if you want to share your data pad on that info.
I think Gideon's not even going to say anything. He's just going to hand it over to Ico to pass over to them. He's like, "I'm not participating in this."
Judge, juries, and executioners, I present to you all the information you need to know about the integrity of Elena Brooks. You want to know why the ship went down? And he's just going to slam the data pad on like the table and let it slide across. There you go.
Governor Abantu just holds up his hand. Now. There is a lot of questions, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger at this table and in this room. I want to rest assured everybody here is a guest. This is not a trial. We simply want to hear your story.
Oh, and by the way, this Lynn bitch over here, she tried to kill us.
As I mentioned, we have no hostilities with the cooperative at this moment. She is a guest on our ship.
Seems like you already know everything, or at least probably not what's on that data pad. What exactly are you trying to figure out that you don't know here?
He looks around the table and pauses before answering you. Well, it is true from the flight recorders and the accounts of the crew members, and the statements of Councilwoman Brooks.
Traitor Brooks.
We have pieced together what we feel is a very cursory view as to what occurred on planet. But you were there, the 5 of you, and we would like a first-hand account of what you saw. And when he says that, you can see Kamal just kind of lean forward, rests his chin on his hands, and he stares directly at you, Aiko.
What? Just refresh my memory quickly. Was it one of Captain Lynn's generals that shot and killed Benji?
It was one of his men.
So yeah, I was just gonna say, here's what I saw down there. One of her guys shot one of our friends who was trying to help us get off the planet right in the head and killed him. His name was Benji. That's who she is.
Again, this is not a trial. We're not here to cast aspersions on each other's integrity or whatever conflict you might have between yourselves. We simply want to know what happened.
Well, so do fucking we.
Now, there have been reports of, and he looks down at his notes, acid popping beetles. Can you please explain to me what that means?
What is
Seems pretty self-explanatory.
what does it matter what happened down there? You're all just going to spin the story how you want, aren't you? You're not going to tell the truth of what happened. So why are you so curious about what happened?
He kind of closes a folder that had all these papers in and kind of pushes it away from him and sits back in his seat for a moment and says, now, Mr. South, I'm afraid I forgot your surname.
That's probably for the best.
Oh. Well, Mr. South, I am, again, terribly sorry for the tremendous loss that those of you who survived what happened down on Baxter's Reach went through. And the terrible loss of the entire colony upon the detonation of a nuclear device. The reason why we need to know what happened down there was precisely for those people that were lost down there. We need to know what they died for. And
You
is
just
it a threat to not only Baxter's Reach, but to the Far Spinward colonies, to this ship, to the greater, to the inner heavens?
you got your notes. You got everything you need. You know what happened down there. The facility was linked to Wayland. You know that much. The Beatles. That you're just are you just trying to figure out if your biological weapons work? Well, let me tell you, they fucking work. And the loss that you feel so bad about that we all endured, no, you don't get to say that. That wasn't your home. That was Mag's, Gideon's, Otmar's. That was our home, not yours.
When you say the words biological weapon, pretty much everybody in the room, just their ears perk up. And the Omnitech CEO, Kim Bach, looks at you and says, do you have evidence of these biological weapons, you say? Were they simply not native species that were dormant and awoke? Why do you call them weapons?
You know exactly what they. Well, you know exactly what they are. The one who turned into your man who turned into a monster. Yeah, that was y'all's doing. That's your weapon, and it works. I think all 5 of us, 6 of us can attest to that.
Mags might whisper to South. Careful. They're playing it like it's a straight deal, but they're not showing the whole hand.
Yeah, you're probably right. Look, that's all you're getting from me. I can't speak for the others, but like I said, it doesn't matter what we have to say or I have to say. You're gonna spin the story how you want. That's what all you corporations do. Make the corporation look good, put blame somewhere else.
Besides, even if we did have proof, why would we want to give it to you? How would that be in our best interest?
As a member of this great mother mission, Mr. Kimura, this is Governor Abantu speaking. I would have thought that our purpose here was obvious. Our mission is quite clear. It is to spread life, not to destroy it.
Send down your colony ships. There you go. It's all yours.
Why the fuck did you nuke Baxter's Reach? How can you say that?
That was a terrible mistake. The coordinates we were given were incorrect.
And let me guess, you'll put blame for that on someone else instead of taking responsibility. It's always someone else's mistake. As my dad used to say, as long as you got an excuse of why it went wrong.
Well, that is why we're here today, to try to discover what did go wrong. We are missing certain gaps in our information, particularly when, and he opens his folder again and leaves through a few pages. Yes. When you reached an alien facility, there seems to be a large gap here. Can you please explain to us what happened there?
I don't know. I guess I must have blacked out. Couldn't tell you. It's like you're going to have to figure it out.
But the rest of you, did all of you black out?
No, but I signed an NDA, so.
Did all of you sign this NDA?
What did you think you were nuking? I can't get over the nukes, personally. It's having a hard time with it.
You didn't wipe out the threat. You wiped out everything else.
No, they wiped out exactly what they wanted. Wanted to make sure it couldn't be traced back to them.
Does kind of seem like that, don't it?
That is
You know, I'm curious what this Elena Brooks has to say about this biological weapon. Why isn't she talking?
Counselor Brooks, were you at this alien facility? She's been kind of staring at the floor this entire time, but when they call upon her directly, she looks up, looks around, looks at each of you, stops, rests her gaze on you, Aiko, shakes her head. Looks at you, Mad Megs, and it's just coldness in her eyes, and says, "It's unfortunate that the majority of the survivors of Baxter's Reach are drawn from the most unsavory parts of it. They have stolen, they have murdered, they have lied, but here we are. For some reason, God thought it in His good grace to save them. And truthfully, if it were not for them, I would not be here today. But what happened down in that facility, I do not know. I was held a prisoner on their ship, along with Captain Lin.
Expand on that prisoner part. Why did we hold you?
I don't know, perhaps because I saw Miss Meggs murder someone in cold blood.
You're over your limit. Shut it.
These are the people, Governor, that you're trying to extract any semblance of truth from, and I dare say it'll be like taking blood from a stone. If it were up to me, and I dare say it is not, I would drop them off at the nearest penal colony and let them rot.
Just for some context, Aiko anyone who's seen American Psycho will know that Aiko's having like a flashback moment where he's just picturing taking the black goo vial that he took from the site and just like shoving it in her throat and like letting it. But he's snapping back now to the council room.
Is that what you're gonna do? Drop?
Uh-oh.
Oh. What's going on?
Back.
Say it
Drop
again,
us off
Steph.
at the next colony. That way we rot in some backwoods. Never to explain what actually happened. Keep us in the
Jesus.
dark.
Might I remind everybody in this room, this is not a trial. We are not here to accuse you of anything. We
South,
simply want to hear.
you raise a really good point, my friend. I forgot one thing. The contingency plan. There's always a contingency plan. I want to know, are you going to let us live?
Looks genuinely a little confused at that and says, we are not barbarians. We're not going to walk you to the nearest space dock and space you. That's no, of course not.
Because just so you know, if you were planning on tying up us as a loose end, we might have a contingency plan too. And this biological weapon you're so afraid of might get to see firsthand. Who knows?
General Taylor leans forward. Is that a threat?
It's
Are you threatening?
self-defense.
He turns to Kamal, Director Kamal, and says, you better keep your man in line here, or I'm going to spank his ass till he's blue in the face. And Governor Abance, now, gentlemen, please, some decorum. We are representing the Great Mother Mission. Very important mission here. And I would remind you, again, this is not a trial. Young man, Gideon, you've been awful quiet. Surely you must remember something of what happened.
I think Gideon's desperately trying not to look at Frank and is just gonna shake his head. No.
You're safe here. I understand you had family on Baxter's Reach, and that 3 sisters, I believe, and the father. I am terribly sorry for
Four.
4 sisters.
Four.
My records only show 3. I'm terribly sorry. 4 sisters. Um,
See, Gideon, they don't even know how many sisters you had. They're not sorry. Don't tell them nothing.
how about you, Mr. Ettinger? Can you please? I encourage you. I urge you, please. Any information that could help. This is for mankind, for civilization, for things far bigger than any of us in this room. It is that important.
I've been ranging on that spinning top for years. Years. I ain't never seen no sequence of events like what I seen. I ain't never seen no natural innate biological organisms like what we seen. Never in none of those years. There's something there that manufactured. I said it. And it's connected to y'all outsiders. I know you don't fancy yourself one thing, but you see how me and my friends could have that perception. What we seen down there is strange facilities falling apart and taken over by terrible things, living terrible things. And the closer we got, more terrible it got. And then we try to call in some help from y'all, and what do? You nuke the goddamn town hall. Wrong coordinates, my ass.
He looks down at his papers for a moment, a little uncomfortable, and up and says, "Again, Mr. Ettinger, words cannot convey the sorrow and grief that I feel for your loss. It truly is horrendous. Nothing will bring those good people back. But it is my duty to ensure that this sort of thing does not happen again. Now, as I mentioned, this is not a place for accusations or trial or anything of that nature. All of you, with the exception of Mr. Kimura, are citizens of Baxter's Reach or citizens of the Far Spinward Islands as a system, as he looks at Captain Lin. I have no sway over you. You're free to come and go as you like. As long as you are on this ship, you are our guests. Mr. Kimura, I shall delegate any appropriate measures for your actions to the good hands of Director Kamal Bartui. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is an internal Wayland-Yutani matter. You did represent the Great Mother Mission and the UN when you led that delegation, Baxter's Reach, and the fact that you are its sole survivor, aside from the crew, you will have to answer for that.
Before I do, I want to clarify that Gideon South Mad Mags, and Otmar are going to be given honorary citizenship here.
As I mentioned, there will be free guests aboard this ship. We'll arrange quarters for them, and they will be comfortable. But should you, of your own accord, desire to deboard and remain on service of another colony, or partake in a new colony effort, that is your option.
Geneva Convention citation 46/B says in the event that refugees' homes become destroyed as a direct result of Weyland-Yutani intervention, they gain immediate honorary citizen status upon the nearest rescue vessel. Now, on the account that you just blew up their little town, I would say this clause means they're guaranteed citizenship.
Of course. Of course. You will be granted full rights and privileges while you're aboard the Ilyana. Now, and before I can continue, General Taylor is still kind of angry. You can still see he's a little hot under the collar. What the hell? Now, what in the goddamn hell did you see down there? Because this, as like he pushes a button in front of him, and on screen pops up an image taken from the camera of the SEV as you are evacuating that hole in the ground with a swarm of these xenomorphs chasing after you. What in the goddamn hell are those things?
Couldn't tell you.
Igo's gonna look over at Gaius and go, well, maybe this guy knows because somebody like him was hanging out with him.
Say that you hear hushed whispers kind of spread throughout the council chamber. And Director Kamal looks at you and says, I would remind Mr. Komura of his obligation to Weyland-Yutani and the NDA that he signed.
I think you're more than welcome to go down there yourself. You see, you didn't nuke that, did you? No. So if you'd like to find out, General Taylor, you're more than welcome.
Might want to bring an army with you, though. There's a bunch. There is a bunch.
You can see Valentina, she's been quiet for a lot of time. She hasn't really said a whole lot, but she's been quiet, and she can tell that she's like been thinking this whole time. Now, I'm trying to piece all of these little fragments of the puzzle together, from the statements to this interview to this horrifying image. What leads you to believe that the Great Mother mission had anything to do with any of this? We only just arrived. How could we have perpetrated such destruction at a massive scale in such short order? What evidence do you have, or what leads you to believe that there is something behind this? Someone.
Because of your doctor and her chatter with Elena here, ain't that right?
You mean Dr. Volkov? As she
Oh,
looks
yeah.
across the table at the UPP General Ozolinsky, because she was the
You must have talked to Ezra about Dr. Volkov. Not exactly his favorite. Anywho, there was evidence of communications ahead of the landing.
Not to mention, we've been thriving on that spinning top for years and years. And then, oh gee, all of a sudden, you arrive and everything goes to shit. Isn't it obvious?
General Ozolinsky speaks up for the first time. He's been kind of, you can tell his expression is kind of half zoned out this entire proceedings until the mention of Dr. Volkov, who was a UPP delegate under him. He leans forward and says, I also understand that at the same time as our arrival, soon after the cooperative arrived. Is that not true?
Captain Lynn? I guess you had to be there.
Well, assuming the reports are correct, then perhaps it could have been the cooperative who instigated all this trouble. Are they a threat to the Great Mother mission? It's what I really want to get at.
I'd call them a
Didn't you
threat
just blow
to.
them up?
I'd call them a threat to anything. But as threatening as they've been, they never nuked our settlement.
Yes, a terrible tragedy that. We are still investigating it. And we will get to the bottom of it.
You are the bottom of it. Decision to nuke goes right to the top. Any fool knows that.
Actually, Aiko would have to know who would probably have launched that bomb, like in terms of clearance, right?
It would have had to have been a joint decision between ICC, UA, UPP, Wellington, and the UN. 5. That would have had to be unanimous.
Aiko's gonna just kind of nudge Mar, like very subtly, and just kind of with his pinky, just kind of point out those 5 people.
So it was unanimous then? What information did y'all have?
When
Made you think
images,
that was a good idea?
well, that, and this is Governor Abonte speaking. That image terrified us. When images of your escape reached Great Mother mission, and we saw the threat that you had faced,
You nuked Baxter's Reach.
we intended to detonate the nuclear device on the alien facility.
Now, hold on there, partner. You're telling me the decision to nuke came after you saw those aliens. Is that what you're going on record as saying?
Yes, why would we nuke?
Well,
Was
that's funny, since we're in the spirit of clearing things up. Ezra was told to get off the planet because they were nuking it before we got to that stronghold, that alien stronghold, as you call it. And so, if the decision to nuke was because you saw the aliens after we escaped, but yet Ezra had communications that you were nuking before we even got there, I think we have a bit of a mismatch in terms of paper trail here.
Interesting. There was no such record of such a transmission in our logs. Are you sure Paladezra communicated to you correctly?
Much as I despise that man, I trust him with my life, and he told me everything.
He looks over at Director Pereira. I trust Palatezra is still aboard and functional at this time. Director responds, yes, he is. We shall bring him in for further questioning, but he has been cooperative the entire time, and he's incapable of not telling the truth. Well, something seems to be amiss here, says Mr. Busby. Something is not adding up, and as Governor Abantu mentioned, you are all, of course, guests within the Great Mothership, Yana. But I'm going to have to insist that you do not leave the ship until we get this sorted.
What happened to just dropping us off?
Well, due to the extenuating circumstances and the unknown veracity of events that have actually taken place here, we cannot afford to let you go until we understand truly what the threat is.
So
Sounds
you're
like
telling me
we
we're
weren't
prisoners?
on trial, but we have to make bond now, huh?
You are guests within the ship, and until we find out what happened, the missing communication logs, the inaccurate or incorrect coordinates for the nuclear device, the missing pieces of information, still the large gaps in our intelligence that indicate what actually happened down there. Until we have these answers, I'm afraid, no, you cannot leave.
Guests get to check out whenever they want. Doesn't seem like we're gonna get that option.
Looks
Uh,
like you're getting your wish, Elena. It might not be a prison colony, but it's confinement all the same.
And Superintendent Busby says, and just to clarify, that includes all of you, as he looks at Elena and Captain Lynn. Until, again, we get to the bottom of exactly what happened, I'm afraid. You're confined to the ship.
That sounds real specific.
Well, I'll just say this. Captain Lin, who is not a captain anymore, should be brought up on war crimes.
Captain Lynn's just been like staring off in the middle of space this whole thing. She's not totally zoned out. And but when you say that, she just looks at you and smiles. Governor Bantu seems a little confused and unsure of what to do next. But he says, well, it would seem this interview not really amount to much, unfortunately. However, the door is always open. Any of you recall something or wish to speak to me or any of the council members here privately about what you experienced those last few moments on Baxter's Reach. Any help, any help, any information would greatly help. And again, I do appreciate your time. My heart goes out to you. And it's unfortunate, but as Superintendent Busby did mention, we do have some very important questions that remain unanswered. But we get answers to those questions, we ask you or insist that you remain on board.
Can Aiko make a command roll to say, I have no problem staying to my quarters as long as this bitch is thrown in the brig?
Governor Bantu says, nobody is going in the brig. You go ahead and make a command roll, but I'm going to say
Yeah.
that the successes are going to be extraordinarily high here.
Hell yeah.
You going in? Oops. Oh, here we go. Are we going to start
Oh,
pushing? Of
oh, hell
course.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on though.
Drawing blanks, man.
Hold on though. It showed 1-6 on my screen, and it's not showing 1 there.
Nothing came. They all came up blank for me. Weird.
It showed a 6 for me. I would have had at least 1. I mean, that's crazy.
Nothing came up.
I just wish I took a screenshot. You don't have to. I just want to see something. These don't count. Look at this. They're all blanking. Something's up. Something's up here.
There you go. There you go.
You're just mad you have bad luck.
I don't know, man. That seemed pretty impossible, but all right.
All right. Governor Bonte says, nobody is going in the brig. You all be assigned quarters. Should you need anything or need any assistance or orientation of the ship or whatever, please just, there are many around that will be more than happy to assist. In the meantime, thank you so much for your time. Please make yourself at home.
Well, Mags, how do you say it? Seems like the deck is stacked against us yet again.
House always win.
You got that straight. How do we get ourselves out of this pickle?
Maybe we pocket a few aces, as you like to say.
I don't know. I like to play a fair game.
There ain't nothing fair about this game they're playing.
No, I agree with you.
As they all start filing out, Director Kamal Vartuhi kind of legs behind with Gaius kind of hovering over his shoulder. When they've all left, he approaches you, Aiko. Mura, at your earliest convenience, I will expect you in my office.
That's in the mid suite, right?
That'll be in the foremost section of the ship. It's massive though, and it'll be it's nice. Whale and Yutani has their own section of the front portion of the ship where their staff reside. You would have your quarters in there as well.
But I assume it's like the directors at the top, and then the VPs, and then, or sorry, the directors would be like mid-level, then your VPs and your.
Yeah,
senior.
but since the director outranks you on this mission, then he'd be getting. So those two leave. Well, Gaius pauses on his way out the door, and he looks at you, Gideon, and he says, "Do I make you uncomfortable?"
A bit.
Oh, it is not my intention to make you uncomfortable. Please be assured I am here to serve. And then he just walks away. As you all stream out of the council chamber, there is a woman just kind of hanging outside the door, waiting for you all to leave. And as you leave, she kind of steps in front of you and says, "Excuse me, um, you're the survivors from Baxter's Reach." It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Electo Throop. I am the chief of rescue operations aboard Ilyana. Um, when you have a moment, I would love uh, maybe to share a meal with you. Um, I'm not one of those stiff collars from that room, but I'm genuinely curious about what you experienced on Baxter. I have had my own experiences in the past, and often I find that those people, maybe it's the air in the stratosphere that kind of thins the oxygen, but they can't think straight, but they just sometimes don't listen to people like us. Meet me in the mess hall.
That's a
100 hours.
generous offer. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Looking forward to our conversation. Boy. Captain Lynn just kind of wanders off on her own. She doesn't care about you guys at all. She seems happy to be free. So does
Can Aiko do like a comms check to maybe get one of his like friends on the ship to put up some just keep some eyes on her?
comms check. This is not going to be a comms check. Since you're kind of leveraging contacts. This is going to be, I'll say it's either going to be a manipulation or a command.
I will do manipulation because then I can use my born leader to make it a command if I fail. All right, so yeah, I'm calling up one of my buddies on the ship to put some eyes on her.
And your rolls.
Well, I'll switch it to command. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So who is this friend of yours contact?
So he's one of the security guards that he just works in like the airport, but you know, he works in like one of the docking areas for the transport ships, probably in cargo. But like you know, he smuggles me some of the good wine every now and then, and I help him with like access passes and getting him clearance for things that he normally would not have clearance for. And I've also gotten him like promoted a few times, gotten him a few raises off the books. So I'm asking him to keep an eye on this bitch.
Okay. On Elena?
Yes. No.
Captain Lynn.
Lynn.
Okay. All right. Elena Brooks and Andrea also wander off, leaving the five of you. Now you have a dinner date with Electo Throop. Aiko, you've been summoned to Director Kamal Vartuhi's office. But what would the rest of you like to do?
I think South is just going to find his room, just seclude himself for a little bit, kind of de-stress maybe.
I think Gideon's gonna do the same.
Sounds like a good idea.
Mags would say she's doing the same, but she might pace the halls, and she's trying to get a sense for, you know, how many non-cryoed folks are on this vessel. That's what she's trying to assess.
Okay. For that, I'm going to have you make a contact check. Because you can easily kind of try and find these records through any console and do a query.
She's not great at contact.
You want to push that?
Yeah.
So this is pretty ready information. As mentioned, there are about 10,000 people in cryo, but there are 135 active crew people on board the ship right now. Many of them are assigned to one of the 4 SEVs. They each have a crew of 10. And then there are 3 Corvus class ships, which belong to Electothrop. These are smaller ships for search and rescue type operations. And each of those have a crew of 6. And the rest are things like mechanics, ops, sensor ops, payload, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's total 135 medical staff, science officers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Mags might also sort of be heading to, I guess, some of the lower ends of the ship as she's wandering, just sort of exploring anywhere that she's got access, opening doors, walking through hallways, finding maintenance areas, crawl spaces, etc. Just exploring the I guess less traveled areas of the ship if she can find them.
Well, this is a schematic of the ship. Is very kind of high level, but you can see the scale of it. If you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, it says 100 by 100 meters. So you can easily tell that this thing is probably at least 2.5 kilometers long. Massive.
Hmm.
All of your stuff is going to be in the command or transit modules, the very top, the very tip, second area. All of the SEVs and the Corvus class ships are kind of in the second module. You can see the dotted lines. That's kind of like the outline for the docking arms where the SEVs are docked. And A, B, C, and D are the cryosleep modules, and the rest is basically propulsion. Um, while Megs is wandering the halls, exploring the Ianla, Aiko, you want to visit director?
Yeah, let's get this over with.
I'm gonna make the schematics for the Ianla available to you guys whenever you want to see it. In the meantime, I'm gonna switch back here and have Mr. Aiko off with his boss. And of course, the ever-present Gaius. As you enter the suite assigned to Wayland Yutani in the foremost section of the ship, is clearly the most well decorated, well appointed. They got like gold kind of what do they call that? Lining kind of along the walls. Beautiful pictures of Wayland Yutani executives kind of lining the walls. Very corporate, very rich looking. And when you knock on Director Camel's door, most of the doors on the ship are standard, like the sliding metal doors, but this one looks like it has wood paneling on it, and it has his name in a gold plaque on the door. So when you enter, he's sitting behind a large mahogany desk. Have a seat, Mr. Kimura. Now, aside from the little slip up of the synthetic you mentioned in the alien facility, I must commend you for not causing more of a scene than you actually did during that interview. Now, there's a matter of the death of every single other delegate on your mission. There is the matter of all the citations that you had written up. And there's the matter of all the regulations that you failed to apply to yourself that I must answer to the ICC for. Now, they will demand your resignation.
What?
I think that's generous.
I thought I was going to get the presidential role for this. Did you not read all that? Did you not read all that information on the Lich Gate, the bioweapon? I mean, I put all this in my notes. How is this not everything we wanted to know?
Quick question for you, Aiko. What did you do with the black goo?
I'm literally carrying it.
Yeah. The challenging part to that would be when you were brought on board, they immediately put you into isolation and quarantine, and they would actively have searched for any kind of biohazard.
Okay, so then they would have confiscated
They would have
it.
caught, and you would have known this coming back on board. So, what do you think Aiko would have done to hide it?
Actually, I probably would have given it to probably Gideon, and put it in the wheelchair, like in the wheelchair.
Okay. All right. Can you? I want you to make a quick roll for me. I'll say it's going to be a mobility check.
Oh boy. Hey!
So you remember this is going to happen as the Chimata no Kami docks with the Ianla. You realize that they are likely going to put you in isolation and quarantine. So you quickly, like at last minute, shove it into Gideon's wheelchair. Gideon, I'm going to have you make an observation check. See if you notice.
Happily.
Remember, I saved you, kid.
No,
Nah.
Gideon, you are oblivious.
I mean, to be fair, I probably
you-
do have horrific head trauma at that point.
You're gonna be happier not knowing this happened.
100%.
Okay.
It's
Second
gonna make our
question,
friendship better.
Aiko, did you mention the black goo in your report?
I mean, I think so. Actually, I mentioned that I mentioned it in terms of I came across something, and it seems like they knew about it and they wanted it, but I'm not mentioning what it is, and so I kind of want to know. In my notes, I was like, hey, like, why didn't you tell me about this? How come I'm not in the know? And I was expecting that because I found all of this, that this is my ticket to the big leagues.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm shocked when I'm coming here, is I thought he was about to tell me, like, you're in, buddy.
No, in fact, you're not in, Mr. Kimura. You are very much out. I'm simply telling you this in person as a courtesy. The fact that you are not being thrown into the brig, the fact that you are not being held to greater account, or I should honestly surrender you to the UN. However, because of the knowledge you contain and provided to Wayland Utah, we will offer you the dignity of being discharged.
Can I make an observation? So Aiko, just for his internal dialogue, he thinks this guy sold him out, and he now thinks this guy's gonna get the promotion that Aiko was gonna get. Can I make like some sort of observation? Maybe I
Yeah,
see
go
something in
ahead.
his office or something.
Yeah, sure.
Or something with Gaius here.
Yeah, you know the inner workings of Weyland-Yutani. It's a cutthroat snake pit of ambition. So yeah, he's totally going to steal your thunder.
Aiko is gonna. I'm assuming he has some sort of alcohol on the desk and everything.
Oh no, he does not.
Oh, what a prude!
He does not. I will give you 2 hours to clean out your room and your belongings. You'll be quartered with the rest of the crew.
So tell me something, Kamal, and I'm gonna put my feet up on his desk. Since the cat's out of the bag, I assume you had a chance to fully read my report before you washed it and prepped it for your superiors. Am I right?
Your report was very informative, yes.
Now, when I talked about the substance, I didn't actually mention what that was. And I'm wondering how you plan to explain to your superiors when they start asking how all this stuff works when you haven't got a goddamn clue.
He simply smiles at you and, Mr. Kimura, why do you think they sent me on this mission? Why do you think they put me in charge?
DEI. No. I couldn't help it. No. I can only imagine the number of people you stepped on to get here. But it's not as much as me. I know what the fuck you're doing. And I'm not going to let it happen to me.
No, but my dear Mr. Kimura, it already has happened. Paperwork has been filed. You are no longer an employee of Weyland-Yutani.
You don't even outrank me. So what the fuck are you even talking about? I come from the mergers and acquisitions department. You're just some piss-ass little colony shit.
I would remind you, Mr. Kimura, that despite your termination, you are still bound by the NDA that you signed upon joining Weyland-Yutani. Should you violate that NDA, you will be prosecuted.
Can I do a little retcon? Can I have so one of the things Aiko wants to try to do is tap into his like data pad and his communications. Like I want to be able to hack into his communications and see who and what he's been talking to. Is it possible for me to at least try to either leave some sort of like chip or something on one of his data pads or by his computer as I'm like kind of sitting there?
All right. So while you're sitting facing him and Gaius, you're going to try and hack into his.
Well, no. I'm gonna leave a chip that will let me like later on kind of like tap into it. So I'm just trying to plant a little USB. Even with my theatrics, you know, when I slam my fists on the table, I'm like, God damn it.
Okay. So this is going to be 2 checks then. I'm going to make
All
it a mobility to see if you can do
That'd
this
be great.
subtly, and then I'm going to make you do a contact check.
All right,
both
let's do
both
this.
of them, you're going to need mobility. I'll say you'll need 2 successes in mobility, 3
Ooh.
successes in contact.
All right, we're doing this. The bigs. Oh.
Right, so you got the thing down. Let's see if the contact check works.
Oh, this will smoke him.
All right. So you you slam this. It's kind of like a bug that you're trying to plant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, you slam this thing with gusto and drama onto the director's table, and it slips from your hand and kind of slides across the table towards him, and he's just looking at it. I have to hand it to you, Mr. Kimura. You are relentless, and that is something I actually admired in you. It is unfortunate that things are what they are, and perhaps in the future we might be able to work together again, but for now, I will have to terminate you. No hard feelings. And he reaches across the table to shake your hand.
Aiko will at least recognize game when game has played well. And so he will shake his hand, but while he's shaking it, he'll say, remember, termination works both ways. And I got my hands on something that can cause a lot of problems if you give me any more problems after this shit show.
Simply smiles at you. Can you make a observation check for me, please? And you will not be able to push this. It's just like a passive to see if you notice something. As you're shaking the director's hand, you kind of see Gaius kind of looking at you over his shoulder. He's staring quite intently at you, Aiko. Almost kind of puts you a little at unease, this way he's looking at you unblinkingly.
What do you want, Frank?
Oh, my name is Gaius, sir, not Frank.
Sure about that?
Not quite sure. As you are about to leave, you swear Gaius winks at you.
Can I make another observation check to know for sure?
Yeah.
Oh. God damn it.
You notice outstanding outside the door, 2 security personnel ready to escort you out of the Weyland-Yutani suites. They strip you of your access cards, anything else that ties you to Weyland-Yutani,
Even my citation report?
even your citation.
Oh.
Anything provided to you by Weyland-Yutani. I'm just going to look at your inventory here. You get to keep your Rolex watch and your briefcase. But yeah, all your contact devices are taken from you.
Oh. Feel naked.
You're able to pack up your room, your clothes, any belongings you might have. What does Aiko have in his quarters?
Not much. This was like he thought this was like a hotel stay thing. He didn't bring too much. He was just gonna dip in, get his little escapade, and go back as a presidential candidate here. So he really is pretty bare bones. Just just literally some suits.
As you're escorted out and back to the crew quarters where the rest of your friends are, we'll move on to that evening. Do you all want to move to meet Electo Throop at dinner?
I mean, that'd be interesting. She said
Uh,
she dealt with this before.
Otmar's hungry, so he would. He'd be trying to get a vibe other than the council vibe. Trying to get a sense of what's what on this ship.
yeah, I don't think South at this point really is buying into all the corporation shit, but if the rest of the group decides to go, he'll might tag along maybe, just to kind of
I-
see what it's all about.
Aiko's gonna tap Mad Mags on the shoulder. You're pretty good at reading the room, let's say, right?
You could say.
Now, if you're gonna play a card game and you don't think the guy's playing straight, you'd have somebody watch him, right? See if there's any fishy moves around the table.
Oh, well. Yeah, I definitely take a good hard investigative approach, I think, I'd make sure that I'd seen that hand before,
Well, as you would say, I don't trust this cat we're going to eat with, so maybe one of us stay back and keep an eye on who else might be watching.
I like that approach. I'll volunteer to do that. I'll sit back and see, make sure that I'm reading the signs. Make sure that there's no tickle in the back of my mind, Make sure that nothing doesn't sit right.
Aiko's just going to casually mention as they're walking off to dinner, oh yeah, by the way, I was fired.
Oh, you were fired. Well, how's it feel to be one of us, a lonely peasant?
Well, just to be clear, I have a set of particular skills that will always separate me from cattle like you, but that sucks.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm surprised you hadn't had a stroke yet since you can't write any more citations.
I would give you a citation. I don't even have my data pad.
Gideon's just gonna murmur under his breath. Maybe he'll just finally get his head out of his ass.
Gideon, since you arrived on board, I guess you can still use your own wheelchair, the one that you got off the SEV. They would have liked to have got that, like, have that returned to the SEV because that's kind of SEV equipment, and they would have given you another one. So, Aiko, when you see Gideon in this wheelchair, you will have noticed it's not the same wheelchair.
Oh, shit.
You okay, Aiko? I think we broke him. Are you
When
okay?
did you leave your other wheelchair back in your room?
No, they took it back to the ship we came on.
Who's they?
The
When did this happen?
not a while ago.
One of the things I have to make sure that I do is I return all inventory, and since that wheelchair was with me when I came on the ship, that's inventory I'm accountable for. I need to know where it is, so I
Weren't
can.
you fired? Isn't this not your problem anymore?
That's what I'm saying. Everything I had has to go back to Whale and Utani. Since that wheelchair was with me at the time of boarding, I have to make sure it's inventoried and back to the inventory people.
Well, then go get it. It's back on the ship. People brought it back because they said that's where it belongs.
Still following policy, are we?
Absolutely,
Weirdo.
absolutely. So can I go to wherever does he know where to go or?
Yeah, I mean, but it is secured. You do need to have access to get on board those SEVs.
Why are you so shook up about a wheelchair?
You know
Yeah.
what? Why don't you guys go to dinner? I'm gonna wrap up all loose ends on my side. You can keep me
What
posted.
loose end? It's a wheelchair.
Dude, you were fired. Why do you care about a chair?
My record is clean and perfect, and I'm gonna keep it that way.
It's so clean that they fired you?
It's just politics. You know how it is. He's gonna steal my promotion anyways. Don't worry about it. Look, I'm gonna give them back their stupid wheelchair. You guys have a great dinner, and we'll catch up after.
Look, Aiko, I know probably hadn't had the best relationship, but let's not start a new beginning on a lie. On a bluff, if you will, Mags. Uh,
Why
so
would he lie
in
about a
honor of
chair?
transparency,
Yeah.
what's with the chair?
Sentimental value. It's company property now.
Motherfucker, I was stuck in that chair for like 3 days. If anyone should be attached, it's fucking me.
It was literally attached to Gideon.
I fucking hate that thing. Why do you care?
Aiko's gonna start like his best to try to act like he's crying. Look,
Are you
when
crying?
we were getting out of that alien raid, and I was pushing that wheelchair, it was so important to me. It's a symbol of my survival. It's a symbol of our survival. And I just need to know that that's okay.
Dude, why the hell are you crying
You
over a
need-
chair?
You need to know if the chair's okay. What's Gideon is okay, I think, is the more important thing of that.
Gideon's fine. Where's the fucking chair?
Okay, man. If you look for a chair, I mean, by all means, I guess.
Is this
Look.
like one of those psychotic breaks people talk about? This
Seems
what's
more like
going on?
a manic episode to me, but
It's all right. In these types of moments, you just gotta fold your hand. You take them cards, you shuffle that deck, and that come with me. Let's talk.
Why don't we all just go together after meeting up with this throop lady? Like, why do you want to go and get it now? Can it wait?
look, I'll tell you what, you and Otmar go to dinner. Me, Aiko, and Mags, we'll go look at this chair.
No. You enjoy dinner. I will. I will get the chair alone.
No, because I need to talk to Mags anyway.
I guess that's okay.
And I trust Otmar and Gideon a lot more to talk to the lady than someone who's obviously concerned about a random wheelchair.
Otmar's depressed. He's like barely noticing the squabbling going on behind him. He's just depressed and hungry.
Is it some sort of like metaphor? Is a chair supposed to mean something? I don't get it.
Just a second, guys. I'm getting a quick call. Aiko's just gonna like step around the corner. He's gonna make another comm check. Can you make another comm tech call to his buddy, his dock worker? He's gonna say, "Stop looking at Lynn. I need you to go to the chair right now and get the vial."
Fuck Lynn, get the chair.
I get it was manipulation, right?
So this is going to be, because they stripped you of your communication devices, everything. You have to make this a ship-to-ship call, like inside.
Yeah.
That's going to be a little harder to keep secret.
Oh, I'm gonna talk in code, like bro code.
Oh, good. Okay, I got to hear this. All right, go ahead and make a contact check.
All right, this is my speciality.
All right.
Yeah.
So he managed to find. You guys notice Aiko's a mess already. He's already got the shakes.
God.
God damn it, he's
All
weird.
this over a chair and he's got the shakes?
I mean,
Aiko's like, "Oh, I'm getting a call." Meanwhile, he goes to the comm and he's like typing into the wall.
I'm just gonna go that way. I don't know.
Watch it be on an intercom across the whole ship.
All right. So you managed to find a comm. You managed to like relay your communication to your contact. What do you say to him?
Hey, need you to do me a solid. It's really important. When we were inventoried when we came out of the gate, one of us was sitting in a very obvious contraption, and It's very sentimental to me. And I would appreciate it if you could take a token of that sentimental thing and give it to me to remember the chair. Okay, I really need a sentimental token from the chair to remember, and I need you to get it to me. It's probably most symbolic in its fitting nature of how comfortable that chair is, and I need to remember it. Just the back of that chair, I remember, was so important to me. The back left of that chair was just so comfortable and sentimental. I need a token of that. So if you can bring me that, I would appreciate it.
Go ahead and make another manipulation check for me, please.
Oh, I need. Oh God, thank you.
All right. So you're gonna. You don't have. Anything to drop. So you're making this call. You're all kind of watching him as he's like saying this into a wall panel. And you only have your briefcase. I guess you're still carrying a briefcase. You came straight from your old quarters. Yeah, you just drop your briefcase on the floor. As you're like emphatically.
I'm like on my knees, like yelling into the comm. This chair is so important to me.
And the guy says, I call you, are you okay, dude?
If you can get me that token to remember the chair by, yeah, I'll be okay, buddy. Okay.
All right.
Back left of that chair seemed extra padded and comfortable.
Okay. I'll see what I can do. Y- Take it easy there, Aiko. You sound a little stressed. I'll see you in a bit. And why are you calling me on this comm?
Ah. I'll tell you about it later, buddy.
All right. I'll see you in a bit. And he signs out. So are you not going to the Kimata no Kami then?
So he's just gonna get up and be like, you know what? Let's go to dinner, guys.
All right. So you guys make your way down to the mess hall. Around 6 o'clock, and you already see Electo Throop sitting there. She's with members of her rescue and recovery organization. They all kind of wear the same kind of olive green jumpsuits. But when she sees you come in, she just kind of gestures to her friends. I'll be right back. And she walks over to the rest of you and motions you to another table for y'all to sit at. And after you grab your food on your trays and whatnot, thanks so much for meeting me. And then she notices that Aiko is there. Oh, I was hoping to talk to the survivors of Baxter's Reach.
Just a quick redcon. I think I'm gonna be just kind of sitting wherever Mags is at. And I know Mags. I don't know. I think Mags was just gonna kind of sit off, I guess, and kind of watch.
Yeah, I'd say she's outside the room, sort of keeping an eye on, like, is there anyone snooping around? Anyone trying to get ears on this conversation? Is there anything deeper behind this solicitation?
Go ahead and make an observation check. And since there are two of you there, I'll give you one of you an extra die. Whoever's making the roll. That was Megs. You get an extra d6. All right. So with the one success, you scan the mess hall. There's no sign of anyone kind of eavesdropping. Everything seems pretty legit here. Just crew members taking a meal. People coming in and out. Nothing suspicious. So it's at the table then. It's just Aiko, Gideon, and Otmar then.
Right.
Okay.
Aiko is like very visibly distraught, like somebody who's having like a mental breakdown. He's like scratching and sweating and like mummering and.
Echo, do you need to go to bed? Are you okay?
Alecto is looking rather uncomfortable as Aiko's there. He says, "No offense, sir. I'd much rather just speak with your friends here, if you don't mind."
You're firing me? Is that what you're firing me from dinner? Is that what you're doing? Firing me? Is that you? Huh? I was just gonna like mutter and wander off, like she fired me from dinner.
Gideon's just sitting there like, oh my god, I don't know him. I have no idea who that man is.
Is your friend okay?
They see Aiko grab some random guy. She fired me from dinner. I guess I'll leave. And then Aiko's just gonna walk off.
I don't know if he's ever been okay.
No, and he's having a particularly hard day.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I don't trust corp types. And
Yeah, I know. I get it.
okay. So again, let me introduce myself. My name is Alecto Throop. I am the owner of Throop Rescue and Recovery. Great Mother Mission commissioned us to accompany them and help assist with any kind of rescue and recovery operations that we may come across while we're out here. So far, it's been pretty quiet. We just arrived recently. Yours would have been the first rescue that we would have had to do should you not have been able to leave the colony. But since you managed to repair your ship and come back here, kudos to you. That's really quite impressive. And I understand, Gideon, that you're a natural with comms and perhaps you'd be interested in learning how to fly.
Okay. I mean, yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I could use another pilot, and Mr. Ettinger, I believe. I could always use more hands if you're open.
I got 2 of them.
Even better. But I didn't come here to talk to you about work. There'll be plenty of time for that. What I really want to talk to you about what you encountered down there. Now, from all the rumors floating around the ship, you encountered something special. I hear tell of beetles that would burst and spill acid everywhere. And these aliens with like elongated skulls, black, almost reptilian.
Did they show you the videos?
No, you see, because that's why I want to talk to you, because I've seen these things myself. And when I told the corp people, much like I think what you just did earlier today, they just shut me out. I don't know if it's from ignorance, fear, or I don't want to think if it was for other reasons, but I'm not a naive person. And that's why I did not want your friend sitting at this table, because I have a particular distrust for Wayland Yutani.
Well, there's good news. Turns out he's no longer employed by Wayland Yutani.
Oh.
company agent without a company. I don't know what they call that. There must be some kind of slang term for it. A cronin. I don't know.
Maybe we could just call it an echo.
I just gotta say, the idea of a cronin is probably one of the most badass things I've ever heard. A corporate ronin. Have you heard? Did you just make that up right now?
Happened live.
You should make that an anime series.
All
You just
right.
hit gold.
All right. I'm gonna need some help. We can share the IP. We can share the production.
Cronin.
Awesome.
Cronin Ico. So now that there aren't many people I've talked to about this, people often think I'm crazy when I try and warn people about this. I'd like to hear more of what you encountered, and I'll be more than happy to share my own story.
Gideon's gonna kind of look at Alma and be like, "Do we tell her or not?" I'm not
Wait,
getting
I
weird
see the
vibes.
cat's out of the bag. They showed us the videos that they seen, and you ain't seen them yet. You either
No.
lying and you have seen them, and you know the gravity of what we're dealing with, or you're telling the truth. It means you ain't one of them. Either way, I'll tell you what we saw. You'd be best off getting the videos, though. Ain't up to no interpretation. Ain't no way to qualify what that terror is.
Mr. Inger, I've seen with my own two eyes what those terrors are capable of. I have lost 2 good crew members to those things. My own life was in danger as I faced one. What I want to know is why nobody is talking about them. And if they are truly out here, we're all in grave danger.
Yeah, we are.
And from my experience, it was Weyland-Yutani who was propagating these creatures.
They seem really interested in getting what was down there.
Yeah, but I gotta say, our Weyland-Yutani guy did not seem to have a clue about that shit. I don't know.
Granted, he didn't have a clue about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've
I don't
known
know.
his type. Don't trust them. It's an act.
They were definitely connected to the facility, but it seemed like they had lost control of it long ago.
Might have had something to do with Frank.
You don't know what we mean, do you? You know what we mean by Frank?
No idea what you mean.
That Cynthia, Gaius?
Gaius, yes. Director Kamal's assistant, yes.
You ever seen another synthetic look like Gaius?
A fair number, actually. He's the Walter model. They all look
Walter.
alike. Yeah.
Just remind me of someone uncanny like.
Gideon's gonna leave over to Otmar and be like, "Why don't we just tell her about Frank? Tell her what we know about him."
And Otmar, he doesn't have a reason not to. He nods.
A little bit of retcon. I would have told all these guys about the Lich Gate and all that stuff and show.
Okay. Except you did not tell them about the black goo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know quite how to put it, but Frank was a synth like that guy, and he went. I don't know if he went crazy or got infected or what, but he went nuts.
But there was a synth, and was he infected?
He was operating the old Wayland Utani facility, or corrupting it in some way. And we ain't seen anyone but him.
Did you see anything like this? And she pulls out a data pad and shows you a picture of one of the pods.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So nod.
God. That nuke that landed on Baxter's Reach was no accident. I think you are all in grave danger. If there was a synth down there that was infected, that's incredible. That's even worse. I didn't think that could even happen. In my experience, when I first encountered these, it was a man, a scientist who had gone rogue. He called them, what did he call them? Destroying angels. He thought they were the epitome of perfection, the perfected beasts that were here that would come back every 3 billion years to reset the universe as like a plague. And once all life has been destroyed, they would go dormant once more until 3 billion years later they were called forth again. I thought he was mad until I saw them myself. There are those. I don't know how much experience or exposure you have had beyond Baxter's Reach in your colony, but there are those, even within the inner heavens. There's a cult that has grown around this, around what they call themselves children of the perfected, or something of that nature. I don't recall, but they worship these things. They strive to become them. And that's what this mad scientist was. He turned his own crew into these creatures so he could study them. And became almost like their caretaker.
That's fucked up.
Oh, you're telling me.
Kind of what Frank was doing. I
So
wasn't there for a lot of it, but he called those things his children.
And I think the likes of Wayland Yutani and your friend, they don't see this as a problem. They're seeing this as an opportunity, as some sort of bioweapon. And of course, the UA and the UPP are interested in obtaining that technology. I'm not sure if you've heard now, but there's open hostilities now between the UA and UPP now. They're effectively at war.
Wasn't Volk just to Otmar be like, wasn't Volkov the one who sabotaged the ship?
Yeah.
And didn't she know beforehand about all that weird goop and stuff?
We seem to think so. The UPP.
This might be out there, but what if she was trying to get the goo like Wayland Utani was, since her UPP and UA are at war now?
It's possible.
I would watch your backs while you are on this ship. There are many people, especially the ones in power. People can have accidents. People can get spaced. People mysteriously disappear. I can take you under my wing, and I think you have a couple of others from Bax's Reach. I can pull into my crew and hire you, so you have at least some safety with my group. I don't know about your friend Aiko though. Think about it. I am afraid that if those creatures are out here already, this isn't the last we'll have seen of them.
I'm afraid you're right. And again, I appreciate the offer.
Of course, think about it. Talk to your friends about it, and let me know. Take care and be safe.
You as well.
And she gets up and walks back to her own. In the meantime, Megs and South, you guys are kind of standing by the entrance to this door. Without one success at the beginning, Megs, your initial scan didn't notice anything. You see Aiko throwing a bit of a temper tantrum as he gets fired from dinner. Have you make one more observation check though for me, as this conversation continues and you continue to scan. All right. You do notice from one table there are some individuals wearing like blue jumpsuits. They look like mechanics, occasionally casting glances over at Gideon, Otmar, and Alecto.
South, do you see that? She'll sort of do a little head nod over to that table.
Yeah, I see it. Kind of wish I hadn't, but I see it.
It's either a problem or an opportunity.
What do you think it is? You think Corpo plant? Maybe Waylon is in on it, trying to get more information out of us? The way I look at it, since we're on lockdown, if we don't give them some kind of information, we'll outlive our usefulness.
Sometimes the first cards you're dealt are not the ones that'll win you the hand. You gotta make some choices.
Yeah? Choices like what?
Well, let's build the hand that we want. Let's build the hand that we need. I think we should branch out a little bit. Figure out who's friends, who's foes. You know, I have an idea. I have plans.
Well, the way I look at it, they're going to keep us on this ship till we give them what they want. We either give them little nuggets of information to keep us around longer, maybe come up with a plan, figure out how to get out of here, which seems like you're already on. And let's be honest, Mags, it's me and you. Otmar, he's kind of not himself, and Aiko just stormed off ranting and raving. So I think it's me and you to devise a plan to get out of here.
South, you remember when I established the hollow? There's always somebody thirsty to be heard, to be seen, to be recognized. You heard them, 130 something people wandering around this ship. Guarantee you, some of them are willing to play some dice. Some of them are willing to put up a credit or two, get a thrill out of life, you know? I think we can make some friends around here. I think that's the play. So I like your attitude. I like your thinking. Maybe that's just it. We give them little drips of information, but we keep the real important things close, you know? Keep that stuff buried in our hand. All the while, we're building that hand up. What do you say?
I like it.
Let me see if I can make some friends who've been neglected on the ship, you know? That's how the Hollow worked. You find those who haven't had the best of luck. You turn their fortune around, you know?
Yeah. The only thing is, Mags, you can't make friends. This ain't the Hollow. You can't make friends like you did at the Hollow when you had the dealers stack the deck. Got to play fair. These people, they're not going to trust us if we don't play fair, and they don't trust us and we don't trust them. We're going to have nobody in our corner by the end of it.
Oh, you're 100% right, South. You're 100% right.
They need a
That's
fair
why we-
dealer.
Oh, they'll get a fair deal. They'll get the fairest deal they ever had. They're going to earn some credits off of me. You know, I brought them with me. I got some. We can make this right.
My next question is, I come by your room the other earlier just because I needed to get out of mind, get out of my head, and I noticed you wasn't there. I assume you were pacing the ship, just like you used to do at the Hollow, always pacing the tables, making sure everything was right.
I think I found me a little nook. South, I think I found me a little nook. I've nicknamed it, calling it the Void. I think that's where I set up a little spot.
I like
Again,
it.
we make some friends around here. Starts with maybe a game of dice, you know. Moves on to a deck of cards. Maybe we get some makeshift tables in there. It's down by the air ventilation system. Nobody goes down there, I don't think. It's
Nice and
dust as
quiet.
far as you could see. I could see no footsteps, nothing. Quiet.
Now, my next question is, what do we do about? And South kind of looks at the table with the guys in the blue jumpsuit, and then kind of looks back at the table with Otmar and Gideon. What do we
Alright.
do about that situation? You trust that?
When you look back at them, Aiko's pretty much finished throwing his temper tantrum at this point, and is storming out, and kind of storms past you guys. Aiko, where are you headed? Just so I know quickly.
So he just kind of was like walking out of the mess hall with his food, telling people, "Oh, I got fired at dinner. Look at that! He's just kind of ranting and calming himself down a little bit in a way, but just kind of, if anything, maybe he stayed in the dinner team and he just walked around to everybody and just told them, "Oh, I got fired from dinner."
Is it- So you stay in the mess hall then, or do you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like pointing
Okay.
at them. I'm like, "Oh, it was her. Yeah, her."
Okay, all right, no worries. Because with Aiko causing this ruckus, the guys in the blue jumpsuit are kind of looking at him now. And you notice it's actually a bunch of them. And with that extra success, I'll say that you notice the Kelland Prospecting logo on their jumpsuits.
I think Otmar would try to secure Aiko and try to get them to a safe location.
What do you think about that, Max? Kellen prospecting? You think they're in on it with the girl? Maybe they're in cahoots?
Something to pay attention to,
Well,
and we don't bring them close. Or maybe we bring them close, actually. Maybe that's the play. I don't know.
what do they say? What do the sailors always used to say? Loose lips sink ships. Maybe we find one in the bunch that's a little too talkative at a table, maybe? Get them comfortable?
Sounds about right. Make sure the dice are loaded in their favor. Something like that. I
You
like
know,
it.
Max, I think we may be able to get out of here. Maybe, just maybe. We got to get Almar right, though. Something's up with him, and I know for a fact something is up with Aiko in that chair. I don't trust that. But maybe we start with one problem at a time.
One problem at a time.
Just as a little table talk, what is so weird about being sentimental about somebody else's wheelchair?
I think that
The fact
question
that
kind of explains itself.
it's not even your wheelchair, too.
There is about 4 security guards walking towards the mess hall. Megs and South, you see this in the corridor just outside.
What do you think this is about? Aiko maybe causing a ruckus?
Don't know, but make a scene. Distract them.
South will kind of I assume like we're leaning on like a wall or a doorway or something, and kind of lean up off the doorway and run over to him and go, fellas, what are we doing? What's the problem? It's dinner time. Yeah, you fellas must be starving. Why don't you come over here and get some grub? It's man, the chef, she cooked. Oh man, it's so good.
Make a manipulation check for me, please. Uh-oh. This is going to be tough. I just saw your score.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Okay, can I push it?
Yeah.
Mags will come up behind too, and
One.
All right. They're both to push past you, South. Meg, what do you want to do?
Mag's gonna come up and start stumbling as if though she's inebriated and say, "Oh, is this the welcoming party? Oh, are you here to escort me to my room?"
Go ahead and make a manipulation check, Megs. Much better at this. All right. Between the two of you, they are delayed a little bit and say, "Excuse me, sir, out of the way. Megs, excuse me, miss, please step aside. We're not here for you." And they
And
try.
as I say that, I'm gonna go, this is Miss Mags. Do you understand who you're talking to? This is the Mags. Okay, show a little respect. I know that we're newcomers on the ship, but
Terribly sorry. Don't. My apologies. Please, out of our way.
and South will kind of, since I guess Mags pretending to be drunk, kind of pick up Mags, but then still kind of like, I guess like kind of block their way a little bit to just maybe buy some more time.
Right. Everyone in the mess hall kind of notices a little bit of a commotion outside, including the three of you. You notice Megs and South kind of holding up some security personnel.
Or should we skedaddle? That doesn't look good.
I think that's a good idea. Let's go.
All right, I'm right behind you.
Let's grab Aiko on the way.
Oh man, can we just leave him?
Then we'll never know how it ends.
Is that what Aiko could have said about you on that planet? But no. No. He reached deep inside
Gideon doesn't know that, man.
All
What are you
right.
talking about? You woke up for the run.
For that bit, yeah. That was about it.
All right. So two of you, Gideon, Otmar, you get up from your table. You walk over to Aiko, who is still ranting about being fired from dinner.
Oh, what? You want me back now?
Otmar just takes him over his shoulder
Not
and
really,
just
no, Wacko.
hoists him out of there.
So there's
He's had, just for the record, probably for the next like 45 minutes, he's had a complete mental breakdown. He's not processing his termination well.
And as the three of you there's two exits on one opposite ends of this room. You take Aiko at the other one. In the meantime, the guards finally push past you, Mags and South, and enter the room. And they scan the room and says, they call Aiko Kimura, Mr. Aiko Kimura. And they're scanning the room. They don't. And then you just see the guys in the blue jumpsuits point out the other door.
No. They didn't go that way. No. They went to the med bay. Aiko, he wasn't himself, man. He was running around talking about they fired him from dinner or something. I don't know. So thought he was having a mental break and took him to the med bay.
The four of them quickly converse closely to each other. Two of them make their way out the door, chasing after Gideon, Otmar, and Aiko, and the other two face you and they say, "Are you two accomplices of Mr. Kimura?"
Can't be an accomplice to something I don't know about.
Were you aware of the substance he smuggled on board the ship?
No, I mean, I'm aware that he smuggled his bad attitude on the
Come
ship.
with
But
us,
that's about
please.
it.
And they immediately try to put you into arm lock so they can cuff you.
Yo,
restrain you.
wait, what's going on? Look, I already did this shit on Baxter's Reach when the co-op come. No, put me in handcuffs over nothing. I thought we
going
were
to re-
guests, not prisoners.
Are you going to
Are you
resist?
here to escort me to my room?
Miss, we will escort you to a room.
Yeah, I'll resist.
All right. In that case, that's where we're going to end tonight. And we'll pick up there as you guys resist arrest.
Y'all really sentimental about that wheelchair now, aren't you?
And we'll pick that up here in a week from now, since we're on a weekly schedule, 3 on, 1 off. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And we'll see you. Bye now.